Hi guys, so just a quick video from me today answering a common question, which is how much protein do I really need? And this is a very context dependent question. So as an easy example, if we take someone off the street who's a generally inactive person but is looking to sustain a healthy lifestyle, their protein requirements in order to satisfy all of their internal biological, physiological requirements isn't too high. It's probably going to be around 1 gram of protein to 1.5 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight. That's roughly a range in which they will sit at. However, this is a different context clearly to you as a football player who is not only participating regularly in weekly or even daily training sessions of a certain intensity, but also weekend matches of a high intensity. So you obviously are looking out for not only repairing and rebuilding damaged muscle tissue from intense exercise, but as someone that is obviously continuously trying to improve on their physicality, whether that's from an endurance perspective, a power or speed perspective, or increasing your muscle mass, you're going one step further and then looking to adapt your muscle tissue in a given way in order to improve yourself. So it's not just a rebuilding, protein isn't just for a rebuilding purpose, it's actually for an adaptive purpose as well. So you're going that one step further. So in that context, your protein requirements are obviously going to be significantly elevated, not only to the average person off the street that isn't exercising at all, but also just to the general daily active person, because you're looking to optimize everything you're doing as opposed to necessarily just improving on what you're doing to some degree. And just to quickly mention, if you want to go deeper on the nutrition side of football, then I'd highly recommend clicking on the link below and checking out the MatchFit Nutrition Academy, because we currently have a really good discount on that and you won't find the same discount on our website. So in the context of you being that type of football player, roughly the range that you're going to look towards is going to be 1.5 grams of protein to 2.5 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight. And at first this can seem like a very large range, and it is a very large range, and the science isn't super clear on what the optimal range is. And the reason for this is because a lot of it is down to individual differences and responses from a given amount of protein. But there's also other factors you need to account for, such as protein quality. For example, 20 grams of one protein source is not equal to 20 grams of another protein source, because ultimately you're only eating a certain amount of protein or a protein containing food in order to access the amino acids that that protein containing food has. So you're technically, whether you know it or not, you're consuming protein in order to access the amino acids, because it's the amino acids which are ultimately the building blocks of your protein within muscle tissue, and they're the substrates that are going to signal for muscle protein synthesis to occur. So it has a signaling and a building effect. The problem is that different protein sources have different amounts of certain amino acids. So wheat, for example, doesn't have as many amino acids, specifically the ones that you need to build muscle tissue, in comparison to a good protein source such as meat or dairy or eggs or whatever it might be. So if you're eating higher quality protein sources, technically you don't need as much protein. And vice versa, if you're eating lower quality protein sources, which for this example, let's just say someone is on a plant-based diet and they're consuming sources of protein which are slightly inferior, their protein requirements daily are going to be slightly higher. So someone on an omnivorous diet might need to consume 150 grams of protein per day, whereas that same individual on a plant-based diet might need to consume 175 grams of protein a day. So that range that I gave is dependent on the quality of protein that you're taking in. The lower the quality, the higher you want to look in that range, maybe 2 to 2.5 grams of protein per kilogram body weight. And the higher the quality of protein you consume, the lower you want to look towards that range. Maybe you're then okay with consuming 1.5 grams of protein per kilogram body weight. And just to quickly mention, if you want to go deeper on the nutrition side of football, then I'd highly recommend clicking on the link below and checking out the MatchFit Nutrition Academy, because we currently have a really good discount on that, and you won't find the same discount on our website. Also with this question, another key aspect of it is that it is situation dependent. So, for example, if you're on a weight loss phase, then it is likely a good idea for you to increase your protein intake slightly, despite the fact that your caloric intake is going to be reduced, purely for the fact that you're more prone to losing muscle tissue when you're in a caloric deficit and you're losing weight. Because ultimately your body is going to be looking to get rid of certain tissues within your body, and if it thinks that your muscle tissue is there to be spared and it is not essential in order to fuel your activity and prevent injury, then it's likely going to burn into your muscle tissue. So we can counteract this by increasing our protein intake and just ensuring that the building blocks and the signals in order to sustain your muscle mass are still there. So if you're in a weight loss phase, again, you want to look towards the higher end of the range that I gave. I'd personally, in order to make sure that I'm doing everything I can, I'd recommend to go towards 2 grams per kilogram body weight, all the way up, or potentially up to 2.5 grams per kilogram body weight, again dependent on the quality of the protein sources that you're consuming. However, if you're someone that is looking to maintain their body weight, isn't too obsessed with gaining lean body mass, that's not your current aim, then you can look towards the lower end of that range again. Maybe 1.5 grams of protein per kilogram body weight is good for you. And if you're looking to gain lean body mass, then you're probably in the middle of that range. There's not an overwhelming need for protein, although you do need an excess of protein to some degree. But you're going to be over consuming calories, and as long as you're within that range, you're likely going to have an excess amount of protein in order to make sure you're optimizing your muscle protein synthesis and your muscle growth over time. So I'd look at around 2 grams per kilogram body weight. So hopefully this clears a lot of the questions up for you guys. If it did, then please share the video, and I'll catch you guys next time.